Hi everyone, it's me, Thomas Lockwood, doing YouTube video number 9. This week, well, we'll be doing something a little bit different, because I'll be looking at my personal top 10 Infinite Generals that I've seen since April the 3rd, 2013. Why do I have to say this such specific date? Well, for the simple matter of fact that we're going to have 10 new legendary creatures in the next block that is coming out. And after every card has been released, and after the pre-release, I'll be talking about each legendary creature one by one, just to give you a little hint of what videos will be coming. Anyway, there is going to be some rules. These rules, let's just say they're guidelines, more to the point. The first one, it must spark an interest of something, of anything. Just like hatred, love, niceness, coolness, anything. Anything that is possible. Second thing is ones with no abilities, shamefully will not be on the list. Meaning they will have to have at least one abilities. Maybe this is not such one, but I just want to tell you about that. And the third and final one is I must see it myself. I can't have other people telling me about these strange ideas people have seen happen in EDH. I have to be the decider, not anyone else. And that's about it. So, without further ado, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. In 10th place, it's a blue legendary creature from actually one of my older videos from Blue Strange Commanders. That just happens to be a coincidence because it did influence me a lot when I saw it. Even though it has a downside, it could not get any higher because of that downside. And that's why this one is Terfra. And sorry about the space, I had my text speech ready to work out how to say it correctly. Anyway, it's a 5-mana creature, 7/7 trample. When it gets through, it will be awesome. However, it rarely does. It has the ability phasing, which a lot of people would like to hint for me to tell you now. That actually happens in the untap step before everything untaps. The reason why I actually thought it was a different step, but it isn't. So, and it also fades out your lands at the beginning of your upkeep. So if it's not on the field, you can't phase out your lands. So it was more of a combo piece to return all lands, and that's why it influenced me a lot to actually use it, and also to use the combo with it. Very nice. In 9th place, just happens to be an elf, but not an elf that is used in Elf Tribal. It's more used in an Artifact Tribal than anything else. And that you've heard me right. It's Glitter the Traitor. Now, being a 3-mana, 3/3 is good enough as it is. Double green and black. But there is a catch. She has Death Touch and First Strike. There's no catch. I just wanted to say it was a catch. Anyway, that means it can kill 3 creatures before it's even dealt the damage to it. Before damage is dealt to it. Another thing is whenever a creature dies under your opponent's control, you get to return an artifact from your graveyard. Now, the reason why I'm saying about this is because there is actually a Doomblade as such in the colours in an artifact form. So you can destroy any creature if you want with just returning the card and paying 2 mana, which is actually very nice, I guess. Also, people might know she is her second printing. And that is why I'm doing a new versus old in the halfway of doing this video. There will be another one, and we'll find that one out later. But at this current time, we'll look at her oldest form. Glitter Sunseeker. Now, Glitter Sunseeker is a cool creature. It's a 4-mana, 3/2 first striker, so she doesn't lose first strike when getting possessed. But she has a tap, destroy an artifact with its converted mana cost equal to the amount of mana in your mana pool. Only problem with that is it's equal to, not equal or less to. So, when she got infected, which is actually hilarious because black is more like killing and killing and killing and killing. But in green they had the artifact destruction. When she got infected and gained the black mana, and she gains Death Touch, But instead of killing all them artifacts, she returns them from the graveyard. Now, it makes me slightly laugh that mono green is the one that destroys and the black green is the one that recurs. But it's more my opinion than anything else. If you disagree with me, you disagree with me. But I would love to see Glister Sunseeker in a deck. Sure, she can't do what she wants to do she can't blow up things without actually having mana. But the point is, I wouldn't mind spending 1 mana and tapping her to blow up a Soul Ring or a Sensei's Vine Top after they try to tap it to draw a card. Anyone else moans about that? We need answers for it, and there's one of them. In 8th place is a strange commander, because it shouldn't be used in EDH, but it was anyway. Mushria. Now, Mushria is a 4/4 for 1 blue, black, red, which is pretty awesome. It's not lost any power and toughness. It's a legendary creature. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may search your graveyard, your hand, and or your library for a card with the same name and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Now, this is actually very useless, but then in the olden days, not olden days, no, this isn't old, this is Zendika. No, it was Zendika block Worldwake. There is a blue creature that whenever it attacks and deals common damage to a player with it had Island Walk. I'm not going to put it up on the YouTube because it's not in my top 10. You get to search a player's library for an artifact, and then you exile it, and you can cast it that turn. Meaning all their Soul Rings and all their Senses on tops, if they didn't find them in time, you can get 2 copies, since you can get your own from your graveyard or battlefield. Your own from your graveyard, deck, or library, or hand. Sure, 1 mana ones might be happening, but you don't know what other artifacts he was running. People knocked him out before he could cast any more artifacts. He nicked like 3 Soul Rings and 2 Sensitive Divine Tops. It was worth knocking him out, having so much mana ramp in cheapness. In 7th place is a commander that is old to me, and I've used it several thousand times, and it was the only commander that I never got hated with. So I guess I was okay. But it was not the greatest, and I only saw it once as a commander on other people's. So I'm using more my opinion than anything else. And it would be a Superior. Now, Superior, as people might know, is actually quite new. Not the one I'm thinking of, though. I'm thinking of the original form, which is 1 colourless, 1 double blue and double white, 3/6 flyer. I wish it had vigilance, but it didn't, so I don't care. Whenever she dealt combat damage to a player, name a card. If that player has that card in their hand, you get to search your library for a creature with flying, reveal it, and then put it into your hand and shuffle your library. As a creature that tutors every turn, if you can make sure you know a card in your opponent's hand, it's very nice, very cool, very sweet. However, like I have mentioned, she does have a new form, and that's the one we'll be looking into now, in another new version old. Like I said, there was one more, and this is the one. It wasn't a big leap, but still, let's do it. Asperia, Supreme Judge, she is a boss. Now, both of them actually evolve attacks, but in a different form. In the first form, as I said, it needed her to deal combat damage. This one only needs an attack, but an attack on you, or attack on your planeswalkers you control. When a planeswalker or you gets attacked, you get to draw a card, or you may draw a card at least, which for that is fair enough. I should talk about mana cost. She's 6 mana, and she's a 6/4 flyer. I do not mind this whatsoever. I would still rather run the other one, because I never see this one as a commander. Never have, never most probably will, unless I've convinced you to run her. But the point is, she's nice, she's a 6/4, I wish she could get a little bit more toughness, but she doesn't, so I'll live with her. But personally, my personal opinion, I'd run the old form. You can build a deck around her, she's easier to run, cheaper, and people will question your deck, thinking it might not be the greatest one out there, but it could be. In 6th place, I have a Huggy Commander. In fact, the only one that I feel is the nicest to the opponents, and maybe why it influenced me so much to be a bit more nicer to what I do to my opponents in my games. And this creature is Hippogriff. Now, Hippogriff is a 4-mana creature, 4/4, with the converted mana cost 1 blue, white, green. With 3 abilities, it versatiles its personal opinion. It gives white to give it flying until the end of turn. The only catch, target opponent has to gain 2 life. In blue, you can return the Hippogriff to its owner's hand, and then target opponent may draw a card. Giving them more cards them way. In green, it gives them a green ability that allows them to gain trample. However, someone gains a hippo token. I am so happy I was the guy that gained the hippo tokens because they were hilarious. I love the creature. It's a nice huggy one. Only reason why I didn't go higher is because I haven't seen my mate for ages that ran it. And, well, personal opinion is I haven't seen it for ages. I wish I could. In 5th place, I'll be start looking at the beauties. Literally. An artful beauty. Darha. Now, I might have said that wrong, but I don't really care about her name. She is beautiful, and she does look very artistic with her dancing. But that's not why she's on this list. If that was, then Glitter would be a little bit higher, and other things would be not on here. There would not be a humongous hippo on this list. But the point is, she's a 4-mana creature, 1/1. Now that's a bit boring. That's very weak, in fact. However, her only ability, is the only thing good about her. And this is why it is bloody artistic what she does. She destroys a creature of your choice for a tap, and then target creature an opponent's choice. Now this gets around Hex Boost because it's an opponent's choice, not it. You got to do this before you attack, before your turn, before your attackers are declared. But the point is with her is you give her Shroud, and you have loads of Shroud and indestructible creatures or things when they die get effects, and your opponents will have to choose other creatures. That's what happened. They never destroy my creatures because my creatures were a dork that didn't really matter to them, apparently to their eyes. So I was the person that kept choosing. I didn't choose their stuff, and we battled each other at the end because after the 8-player EDH, we knocked out everyone apart from me and her. And I will not kid. I had 1 card left in my library. And this was before the days of the infinite card, even though I was running blue. So, before you say anything. But the point was, I did win on the scrape, but when I went against her, it was more politics than anything. And Red doesn't have that. I love her, and if I could ever afford one, or if I can ever find a copy, I would have her, lock her in my safe, which I have, like my promos that I've won over the years of games days. Oh, and my Glisser, big token thing, which I want in foil as well, but I can't, so I'll live without that. Anyway, yeah, I like her, and someday I hope she's cheap enough for me to buy. In 4th place is actually a commander that I use, but not as a commander unless I really need to. She is in my elf deck, but she is an elf. She just tutors for all the elves I need. Captain Sisay. Now, it's surprising that Captain Sisay just happens to be in my intro, isn't it? Not really. It allows me to search for a legendary card and put it into your hand, reveal it, of course, and then shuffle your library. As a green-white tutor, that's not too bad. More to the point, if you think about it, she is to do with legendaries. Everything was in my intro was about legendaries. So this was a nice good addition. Captain Sisay has been in the Commander Arsenal, as you can see, For 4 mana, 2/2 with her ability, she was very strong and very good. She can tutor everything. You could even make locks like Yoshi plus, name it for me, move that. There is so many things you can do with her. I love her to bits, and every time I cast her, she might not be my commander, but she is pretty strong. And that's how I know her, because so many people use her, and with the lock and everything. At least I'm lucky that I've never got into the lock, but yeah. In third place is a creature I love. She is very hot to my personal opinion, and in my personal opinion as well, she is the best angel in the game of Magic the Gathering. Now, you can sue me for that, but please don't. It's just my opinion, not yours. I don't give two monkeys about yours. It's all me this week. And this angel just happens to be a new one, Gazella. Now, even though Gazella hasn't been around for long, she has still made an impact to one of the EDHs that I've seen, and she is ran as the commander. With doubling damage, dealing damage when your opponent's dealt damage, or opponent controls. Sorry, that's a bit of a tongue twister. That damage is doubled, and all damage done to your stuff is halved, making her a 10/9 if her abilities are still working. For 7 mana, flying first strike. Let's just put this in perspective. She is 4 red, white, white. 10/9 flying first strike. Give her Death Touch. Not Death Touch. Of course, Death Touch is useless. Give her Double Strike, making her 20, or Indestructibility to make her live forever. My personal opinion is I love her. I would love a foil copy. All I've got is the Big Humongous card, which I said in the video beforehand, but I accidentally said Glisser instead of Gazella. But she is the best angel in my personal opinion, and if I could have any card in foil, that would be the one, and I would make a commander straight from her, and that's why she's so much given me an influence to run her, if only I could get the cards. Little spoiler, first and second have been in exactly the same sets as each other since they began printing themselves. So, but I will say some good news, they're not the same colour. So, I'll let you ponder what that could be. Anyway, second place is the Mimeoplasm. Yes, my favourite commander, the one I'm using at this current moment, with my Reese the Redeem, and the one I'm technically trying to build, Thalia. I have the Mimeoplasm. Now, this is more of when the percent of, not Commander's Arsenal, but Commander's itself was printed. If anyone else would agree, when we was doing it, it was the one that kept winning. As long as they used Mimeoplasm as the commander, you could change in the store we did because it was that nice. And it was just so strong. I must admit, the use was the only counter at the time. So, meh. Anyway, for 5 mana, 2 green and black and blue. It's a 0/0. Now that makes no sense. Well, let's just say it's a bloody clone. Blue, green, and black are the most cloning cards in the game. Red clones temporarily. White, I don't think clones at all. I could be wrong, but I'll just leave it as that. Anyway, when it enters the battlefield, I get to exile 2 cards from graveyards. Any 2 graveyards. So I could exile 1 creature from my graveyard and 1 creature from my opponent's graveyard. If I do, it enters the battlefield with one of them being Mimeoplasm. So I could exile Triskelion from my opponent's graveyard, because I don't run it because it's so cheap in this deck, and just to lose. And then I gain +1/+1 counters from the second card I exiled, which is most where a lot of Extinction, or the new blue-black one. Yeah. Awesome, right? Broken, obscene, silly, crazy. Any more words I want to use? Oh yeah, Tarantaram, ooze. And what has it got inside? Oh, it's just got Jurassic Park. They did think of this art too well. I even got the artist to sign a copy of the humongous card and the one from Commander. I even own the Commander Arsenal because it's cheaper than some of the actual big forms of the cards. I'm not kidding you. This card was the third cheapest one in the bloody box. Even the dice cost more than the Mimeoplasm. Come on, people. It was that crazy. And I'm talking it down now because I have to. The only reason why it's not first is because I thought two things. One, it's a bit unfair having my favourite commander also hitting the top when it was a humongous impact when it was printed, but has not made an impact since. And secondly, there is one other commander that has done the most painfulest things to me. But we'll recap first, just to have the little suspense. It's time to remark on the ones I have seen. In 10th edition was Toiba, as its cheap casting costs and its funniness just made everyone confused. 9th, Glisser, the traitor, with her combinations and her awesomeness. 8th, Mushra, the one that just combos at random times. 7th, Superior, 1st edition, because she was just that tutor. 6th, Hippogriff, being Hugster. 5th, the artful beauty Doraha, for her beautifulness of killing. 4th, Captain Sisse, the tutor of all tutors. 3rd, Gazella, being a 10-9 for 7 mana, first striker. And at second, the Mimeoplasm, for just being that cool and that near unbeatable. In first place is a creature that just happens to be the opposite of every other creature on this list. Every creature on this list just happens to be a creature I loved, and even liked it even more when it became a good card in Commander, or at least was used in Commander. But this one, the reason being used in Commander, made me feel sick of her. Because she needs absolutely no luck and all the skill in the world. Sorry, got that wrong. You need absolutely no skill and all the luck in the world. Because the commander I'm talking about is Courier of the Vast. Now, this commander is one I hate the most. In fact, if I could, I would eat a copy of her. Yes. She is a 2/2 flyer for 4 mana. That's okay when her casting cost is 1, white, black, and red. But her second ability is what makes her obscene. Whenever she attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, a demon, or a dragon creature card from your hand to the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. Come on. Putting them 10 mana and 9 mana and 8 mana creatures down on turn 4 on average when I was playing against her? It's just mean. And there is so many dragons that are beefy, there is so many angels that are obscene, and there's so many demons that are demons. That Courier of the Vast is just so brutal. I'd never say you need skill, luck, or talent in Magic the Gathering, in my personal opinion. Because using none of them, and just using your cunning and your nothingness, could be the greatest weapon your opponents fear. Because they will never know what you do. You could counter a 1/1 and let a 10/10 resolve, purely because you know what you're doing. Or you don't, because you just don't. Thanks for everyone for watching, if you're still watching, because that rant went on for ages and ages and ages, and I was really getting a bit too knowledgeable. Anyway, there is something I'd like to point out, which I'm not going to state in this. Firstly, I am going to be making another one, as long as you guys vote for some. If we get people to vote to see what their ones were, and then I'll make another one with the top 10 of your guys, not just my ones. Top 10. Other things in the credits, you will be seeing that there is the ones that just missed the cut. I have put them in 11th, 12th and 13th, because they're the only three I'm going to put down there. Few other things. Next week, because I haven't had any hints, I'm going to just tell you straight away, because this was just like a thing I just added in the middle. Next week, I'll be looking at another rule bending, because we all don't have 4-colored commanders, right? So isn't it fair if we look into the 4-colored creatures we have, and then we'll also be looking into people's ideas of what 4-colored commanders could do in the future. And we might even look at some mine if mine ain't if people didn't make their own for that colour. Thanks for everyone for watching, and I hope you have the nicest of weeks.